AITA for exposing my sister with hidden cams after her fake accusations against me? It all started 3 years ago when I bought my own house in a quiet suburb on the outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona, with the money I earned as a software developer. Not bad for a woman who started writing code in her college dorm room, right? I work for a company that manufactures home security solutions, cameras, smart systems, sensors, all that technology. The great thing is that I develop some of the key software components myself. My boss adores me because I can work remotely from home and still deliver everything on time. They pay very well, so I could afford this 4-bedroom house. I set up my home office in one of the spare bedrooms. It is perfect. Large windows, good lighting, and complete silence. I only go to the main office maybe once a week for meetings. The rest of the time I am here in my pajamas writing code and making a good living. Right after buying the house, I installed the company's video surveillance system in the common areas. Living room, dining room, hallways, entrance, garage, and backyard. Nothing in the bedrooms or bathrooms. I placed a clear but visible sign on the front door. This property is under video surveillance. I also set up motion sensors and cloud backup with timestamps. I even programmed special apps for my laptop and phone so I could view my house from anywhere with 2-factor authentication and strong encryption. Even so, I never intruded on anyone's private life. I respected personal spaces. My life was going perfectly. I had my routine fine-tuned. Wake up at 8, have coffee, work until 6, order takeout when I felt too tired to cook, watch a show, and sleep. Weekends were for cleaning the house, doing the grocery shopping, and binge-watching my favorite series with no drama, no stress, just me and my work. Then my older sister Stephanie called me. She is 35 and has 2 kids, Jackson who is 9 and Owen who is 7. Her husband had left her for a 22-year-old waitress about 2 years ago. He did not pay child support either, so Stephanie had been struggling. I had been helping her pay her apartment rent because, well, she is my sister and those kids needed a stable home. "Rachel, I need to talk to you about something," Stephanie said on the phone. Her voice sounded strange, as if she were planning something. "Would it be okay if we came to visit this Saturday? The kids miss their aunt." I smiled. I miss my nephews too. They were good boys, even though they could be a handful sometimes. "Sure, that sounds perfect. I will make lunch for everyone." Saturday arrived and I was excited. I cleaned the house, bought groceries, and even picked up some snacks that the kids loved. I was making sandwiches when I heard Stephanie's car pull into my driveway. I went out to greet them, but something felt off. Stephanie was unloading suitcases from her trunk. Not just overnight bags, but large suitcases like they were moving. "Hi guys," I called, trying to keep my voice cheerful. Jackson and Owen ran over and hugged me. "Aunt Rachel, look, we brought all our stuff," Owen said, pointing to the pile of luggage. I felt a knot in my stomach. All their stuff. Stephanie was already carrying boxes toward my front door. "Boys, help me with these." I followed them inside with my heart racing. Stephanie was directing the kids to put boxes in the living room as if the house were hers. "Stephanie, what is going on? This looks like more than a weekend visit." She stood up straight and looked at me with that determined expression I remembered from when we were girls and she wanted something. "I moved out of the apartment. We are going to live here with you. You have 3 empty bedrooms. The kids need stability and I need help. You work from home, so you can keep an eye on things when I am busy." "No, absolutely not. I will help you find a new apartment, but you cannot move in here without permission." Stephanie's face took on that stubborn look. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number. "Hi, Mom. It is Stephanie. Yes, we are here at Rachel's house just like we talked about. Yes, she is making things difficult. Here, talk to her." She shoved the phone at me. I had no choice but to take it. "Rachel, honey, what is wrong?" My mother Susan's voice sounded sweet and worried. "Mom, did you know Stephanie was planning to move into my house?" "Of course, daughter. We talked about it last week. Stephanie needs help and you have space. You should be happy to help your sister and those kids." "But Mom, I never agreed to this. I need my space to work and I cannot just take care of 2 kids. Rachel, I am very disappointed in you. Your sister is going through a hard time and family helps family. Those kids need stability. And you are being selfish." The guilt hit me like a truck. I looked at Jackson and Owen, who were watching me with huge eyes, and I felt awful. I handed the phone back to Stephanie, defeated. See? It is all settled, Stephanie said, smiling. Do not worry, Rachel. We will just stay a few months until I find a better job and can afford a nicer place. Maybe I will even hire a babysitter. I doubted it, but what could I do? The kids were already here with all their things and my parents were clearly on Stephanie's side. Fine, I said, but we have to set some rules. Of course, we will not get in your way, I promise. Looking back, I should have known that promise would not last. The first few weeks were not too bad. Stephanie kept her word at first. She had a part-time job at a local retail store, so she would leave in the morning. She would pick up the kids from school around 3 and make dinner. I could hear them downstairs while I worked in my office, but they were pretty quiet. Jackson and Owen seemed to understand that Aunt Rachel needed her space to work. Sometimes they would knock on the door to show me their homework or ask for help with math problems, which was sweet. I had forgotten how smart kids can be when they are not being little whirlwinds. Stephanie seemed like a decent guest. She washed her clothes, kept the kids' things organized in their shared bedroom, and even helped with the groceries sometimes. When my parents, Susan and David, came over for Sunday dinner, it was all smiles and compliments. Rachel, you are a great sister, my dad said, patting me on the shoulder. Look how well the kids are getting along. They look happy here, my mom added, watching Jackson and Owen play video games in the living room. They needed stability. Stephanie smiled at me from across the table. Rachel has been amazing. I do not know what we would have done without her. I felt good. Honestly, maybe this temporary arrangement would work out. Stephanie seemed motivated to look for a better job. The kids were doing well in school and I could still work without too many interruptions. But the second month came and everything started to change. It began subtly. Stephanie started staying later at work. Or at least that is what she told me. Rachel, I am going to work more hours, she announced on a Tuesday morning. The manager said there could be a promotion if I show commitment. That is great, I said without taking my eyes off my laptop. More money, right? Exactly, but I will not be able to pick up the kids anymore. Would you mind going to get them? Just until I figure something else out. I paused my typing. Stephanie, sometimes I have afternoon meetings. I cannot drop everything to go to the school. Please, it is temporary. As soon as I get the promotion, I will be able to afford a babysitter. So I started picking them up from school. First, it was not terrible. I would finish around 2:30. I would drive on the freeway with slow traffic. I would wait in the long line of cars for 20 or 30 minutes and bring the kids back. They would do their homework at the kitchen table, while I tried to squeeze in a few more hours of work. But then dinner also became my responsibility. Stephanie started arriving later and later, always with some excuse about inventory, training, or helping other employees. She would come in exhausted at 8 or 9 at night, eat what I had cooked for the kids, and go straight to her room. By the end of the second month, I was doing almost everything. By the 3-month mark, I was her babysitter and maid. Weekends got worse. Stephanie would disappear on Saturday mornings with some vague excuse about running errands or seeing friends, and she would not come back until Sunday afternoon. That left me with 2 highly energetic kids who wanted to go out and do things. I found myself spending my weekends being a full-time aunt instead of resting. I got tired of it. One weekday evening, I decided to wait up for Stephanie to talk to her. I needed to know what was going on with all those late nights and absences. I sat in the living room waiting. 9 o'clock went by, then 10, then 11. I was annoyed, but I stayed. The kids were asleep and I just kept waiting. Around midnight, I heard Stephanie's car in the driveway. She came through the door and I knew immediately what was going on. She was clearly intoxicated, and she smelled strongly of alcohol and men's cologne. Stephanie, we need to talk. She jumped, not expecting to see me there in the dimly lit living room. Rachel, what are you doing awake? Waiting for you. I want to know what is going on. Are you really working overtime? Or are you just going out to have fun? Her face changed. The fake sweetness disappeared. I am fixing my personal life. Okay. I am allowed to go out. I have been divorced for 2 years. But you are lying to me about work and leaving me in charge of your kids while you go out and come home like this. Whatever, Rachel, I do not have to explain myself to you. She went up the stairs, leaving me furious. After that confrontation, everything got worse. Stephanie started coming home very late at night, almost always intoxicated. She did not take care of her kids and barely saw them. I did everything. Picking them up, helping with homework, preparing dinner, bedtime routines, and weekend activities. The breaking point came when Jackson's teacher called for a meeting. Ms. Anderson wants to meet about his math grades, I told Stephanie one morning. Can you not go? I am busy that day. Stephanie, I am not his mother. You have to go. Rachel, please. You are better with the school stuff. You help him more than I do. So I went to the meeting and introduced myself as his aunt. Anderson talked about his progress and behavior. It was uncomfortable. That night I called my mom. Mom, Stephanie is not taking care of her kids. I do everything while she goes out and comes home intoxicated. This is not what we agreed on. Rachel, your sister is just trying to heal. She has been through a difficult divorce. You should not interfere. Heal? She goes out while I take care of her kids. You are exaggerating, daughter. Stephanie deserves some happiness. Be patient with her. I hung up feeling alone. Even my parents were taking Stephanie's side. The kids noticed it too. One morning Owen asked me why his mom was never home anymore. Jackson was quieter. They needed their mother, but she was too busy fixing her life. Things kept getting worse. Stephanie was barely home, and when she was, she acted like she owned the place. She ate the food I bought, left her dishes, and expected me to clean up. The kids were living as if they had no mother. One afternoon I was working in my office when I heard a loud crash downstairs. It sounded like something heavy falling and breaking, followed by a cry. My heart froze and I ran downstairs. Owen was standing next to my antique vase, now shattered all over the floor. He was crying and holding his leg. He had a cut on his shin and was hurt. What happened? I asked, kneeling down. We were playing tag, Jackson said, pale. Owen ran, bumped into the table, and the vase fell on his leg. I saw the cut and knew it needed medical attention. Okay, boys. We have to take Owen to the emergency room right now, I said, trying to stay calm. I grabbed clean towels, applied pressure, and helped him into the car. Jackson sat in the back, scared. The emergency room was stressful. Owen was upset. Jackson was quiet, and I was trying to fill out forms as his aunt. The receptionist asked for the mother. I called Stephanie, she did not answer. I asked them to contact her for phone authorization and left her details. I presented my ID and the health insurance information from my job, which allowed me to cover dependents living in my household temporarily. After what felt like forever, they took Owen in for treatment. The doctor said he would be fine, but the cut was deep. They gave him pain relief and bandaged it up. We got home around 6. I was exhausted and so were the kids. I made them some pasta and put on a movie to help them relax. That night Stephanie came home earlier than usual, around 8. She walked in and immediately saw Owen's bandaged leg. What happened to him? She demanded. I explained the accident, that I took them both to the hospital, and that Owen needed medical care. Instead of thanking me or comforting her son, Stephanie blew up. You were not watching them. This is your fault, Rachel. You let him get hurt. I could not believe what I was hearing. Stephanie, I was working in my office. It was an accident. An accident that would not have happened if you had supervised them. Are you kidding me? You are never here. I have taken care of your kids for months while you go out. I work hard to provide for them. You do not work. You go out. You come home smelling of alcohol and cologne and expect me to raise your kids. The kids watched us argue. You are not there for them, Stephanie. You just want a free babysitter. That was when she struck me hard across the face. I stood there stunned, my cheek burning. This cannot go on like this, I said quietly. We are going to set some boundaries. Do not even think about kicking me out. We have nowhere to go. I am not going to do anything impulsive or illegal. Today I will give you written notice that this arrangement is over. If you do not respect the notice, I will begin the formal eviction process under Arizona law. And for the safety of the kids, I will seek guidance from Child Protective Services. Stephanie laughed scornfully. You will not do anything, think of the children. I looked at Jackson and Owen huddled on the couch, terrified. I am going to think of them precisely because of that. The next morning was Saturday. I was drinking coffee when Stephanie came downstairs dressed and holding some papers in her hand. Where are you going? I asked. Out. I will be back later. She left without saying goodbye to the kids. I spent the morning cleaning up the remains of the vase and playing with Jackson and Owen, trying to act normal. Stephanie returned at noon with a triumphant look. Rachel, we need to talk, she said, waving the papers. What is that? Owen's medical records. I am going to file a child abuse report against you. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. Stephanie, are you crazy? I will say you threw the vase at him on purpose. Because you do not want us living here. No one is going to believe that. It was clearly an accident. Her smile grew crueler. I already talked to the kids about what they will tell the authorities. They will say whatever I say. I saw Jackson and Owen standing in the doorway, confused and scared. This is wrong, Stephanie. You would make a false allegation and involve your kids to get what you want. I will drop everything if you let us stay and give me $10,000. I stared at her, speechless. My own sister wanted to blackmail me. You are out of your mind. If you think I am going to give you money, then go file the report. My hands were shaking, but I kept my voice steady. First, I am going to call Mom and Dad. I want them to hear what you are planning. Stephanie shrugged. Go ahead. They will be on my side. Like always. I called my parents and asked them to come over for lunch to talk about the situation. I did not mention the blackmail over the phone. While we waited, I went into my office and opened the security system panel. I looked for the video of the accident. The living room camera had captured everything. The kids running. Owen bumping into the table, the vase falling and causing the cut. It was clearly an accident. I also found several videos of Stephanie coming home late at night, stumbling, and a couple of her coming in with someone smelling of cologne. I copied everything onto a flash drive and waited for my parents. Stephanie had no idea what was coming. My parents arrived around 5, annoyed at having to come over. Rachel, what is this about? My dad asked as he walked in. We had plans. We need to talk about Stephanie's situation here, I said, trying to stay calm. My mother immediately got defensive. If you are trying to kick your sister out, Rachel, you disappoint me. Please, both of you sit down. We are gathering in the living room. Stephanie was on the couch, looking confident. The kids were upstairs in their bedroom. Mom, Dad, Stephanie has been blackmailing me. I started. What? My mother's eyes widened. Rachel, that is extremely serious. She threatened to file a false child abuse report unless I gave her $10,000 and let her stay. Stephanie stood up. Rachel is lying. She hurt Owen and now she wants to cover it up by making me look bad. Stephanie struck me last night, I continued. And she has been coming home intoxicated almost every night while I take care of your grandsons. My dad shook his head. Rachel, maybe you are exaggerating. Stephanie just needs time. She has been using me as free childcare while she goes out. I do everything. Pick them up, homework, cooking, cleaning. She does not take care of her kids. Your sister is trying to rebuild herself after a divorce, my mom said. You should be more understanding. Stephanie nodded. Rachel does not understand what I went through. She is making things up to kick us out. I am not making anything up, I said and went to get my laptop. I can prove it. I plugged in the flash drive and opened the video of the accident. This is the footage from the living room yesterday when Owen got hurt. The camera is in a common area. You guys know about the video surveillance sign. They looked at the screen. The kids playing tag. Owen bumping into the table, the vase falling and causing the injury. It was an accident. Stephanie's face went white. Rachel, where did you get that? From the common area cameras in my house, installed 3 years ago. All with cloud backup and timestamps. Have you been spying on us? Stephanie's voice turned shrill. It is my house and there is a video surveillance warning. Besides, good thing it exists because it caught your false story. I played the next video. Stephanie coming in at 1 in the morning, clearly intoxicated, bumping into the wall. This is from Tuesday. You told me you were working late. Another video. Stephanie arriving at midnight on Friday, laughing with someone at the door and barely able to walk straight. And this is from Friday. You said you were at a training. My parents watched in shock. My dad's mouth was hanging open. My mom looked stunned. Stephanie, my mom said quietly. It is true you have been lying. Stephanie started making excuses. I work and sometimes I go out to relax. There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with leaving your kids while you come home intoxicated? I asked. Nothing wrong with trying to blackmail me? I never said I would press false charges. Yes, you did. You said you would tell them I threw the vase and that you would coach Jackson and Owen to lie. My dad stood up slowly. Stephanie, did you really threaten that? I was just protecting them from their aunt. Who has taken better care of them than you? Asked my mom, now with tears in her eyes. How could you take advantage of Rachel like this? You do not understand, Stephanie said desperately. I needed help and time. By going out every night? I asked. That is not sorting anything out. Rachel, what do you want us to do? My dad asked exhaustedly. I want this arrangement to end right now. Today I am handing you, Stephanie, a written notice with the date and time. If you do not comply, on Monday I will consult a lawyer to start an eviction, and I will go to Child Protective Services to put this on record for the well-being of Jackson and Owen. Stephanie gasped. You cannot take my kids away from me. I am not trying to take anything from you. But if you insist on making a false report or continue neglecting them, I will report it to Child Protective Services and ask for protective measures. I have hours of footage of your late-night absences. Any authority will see that these kids need stability. Rachel, please, my mom said. Think of the children. I am thinking of them. This environment is not doing them any good. Stephanie started crying, but it sounded fake. I am sorry. I will do better, I promise. You had months to do better, I said. Even so, this is not a punishment, it is setting boundaries. We can have an orderly move out today. If you want, Mom and Dad can take you in for a few days. My parents looked at each other and then at Stephanie. Stephanie, maybe you should come stay with us for a while, my mom said. Until you get things properly sorted out. Stephanie frowned. Your house is small. Well, you cannot stay here, my dad said firmly. Rachel is right. This got out of control. Stephanie glared at us, but she knew she was defeated. She went upstairs to pack, slamming doors. I printed the notice with the date, time, and my signature, and asked her to sign it to acknowledge receipt. She signed it reluctantly. That afternoon, my parents helped her load the car. The kids came down with their backpacks. Jackson and Owen hugged me goodbye. Can we come see you, Auntie? Asked Jackson. Of course you can, I said with a knot in my throat. Whenever your mom allows it, I will be right here. I also calmly told Stephanie that we would coordinate visits for the kids without interfering with their school. Before they left, I took a deep breath. Stephanie, I am giving you the number of a counselor covered by my insurance and a family lawyer who offers a free initial consultation. Would those be helpful to you? She did not answer, but she took the papers. They left around 7:30. The house went completely silent. The following Monday, I requested a legal consultation. The lawyer confirmed the eviction steps under Arizona law and recommended submitting a formal document to Child Protective Services, documenting the blackmail episode and the absences. This was not to punish Stephanie, but to have a record in case it happened again. I also checked with Human Resources regarding the scope of my insurance and updated my beneficiaries. A couple of weeks later, Stephanie texted me. I am working full-time. Susan and David do not let me go out on weekdays. I am in counseling. The kids are doing fine. I did not know whether to believe her, but I wanted to. A few months later, I heard through my cousin that Stephanie was still at her steady job, that my parents were helping her with her schedule, and that she had stopped going out every weekend. The boys' school reported improvements in their homework. They asked me if I could see them on Saturday afternoons. I gladly accepted, with clear rules, schedules, communication, and no surprises. The house felt quiet without them, but it was my silence again. I could work without interruptions, eat whatever I wanted, and come and go as I pleased. Some nights I felt guilty about Jackson and Owen, but I reminded myself that setting boundaries is not being selfish. It is self-care, and sometimes it is also caring for others. It was not a loud victory. It was a clear boundary backed by reality and the law. And maybe, in time, it was also the push my sister needed to become the mother her children deserve. Comment. Hey friends, this story really touched me deeply. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can practice. You can love your family and still choose to protect your own energy and peace. Kindness should never come at the expense of your well-being. Taking responsibility for your own happiness isn't selfish. It is necessary. Sometimes stepping back actually creates space for real healing and growth. I hope this encourages you to reflect on the relationships in your life. Choosing calm over constant stress can change everything for the better. Remember that you deserve to feel safe and valued in your own home. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.